In 2003, Lego, one of the most beloved toy companies on the planet, was losing money so fast that insiders said it was bleeding out at roughly $1 million a day. Sales had collapsed by 35% in America and by almost 30% worldwide. Warehouses were stuffed with toys nobody wanted, while the toys people actually loved sat out of stock on shelves for months at a time. The debt on the books was almost equal to an entire year of sales. This was a company built on a single simple idea: a plastic brick that somehow lost its way so badly it came within months of disappearing forever. And the strange part is, the thing that almost killed it was not a cheaper competitor or a tech disruption. It was the company itself trying to be everything at once. This is the story of how Lego walked right up to the edge of bankruptcy and then did something almost no toy company has ever done. It let its customers save it. Lego started in 1932 in a small Danish carpentry workshop. A craftsman who built wooden toys during the Great Depression slowly turned his workshop into a toy company, and by the 1950s, his sons had landed on the idea that would define the brand forever: a simple interlocking plastic brick that could be combined in nearly infinite ways. It was deceptively simple. A handful of basic shapes, a satisfying click when two pieces connected, and a name that literally translates to "play well." For decades, that simplicity was the entire business. Kids built houses, castles, spaceships, whatever they could imagine, using the same core pieces their parents had played with. By the 1990s, Lego had become a generational institution, the kind of toy that did not need flashy marketing because parents bought it on nostalgia alone. And that's exactly when the company started to drift. Leadership looked at the rise of video games, of early digital entertainment, of kids spending less time building and more time staring at screens, and panicked. Instead of doubling down on the brick, Lego exploded outward. It launched clothing lines, it opened theme parks, it poured money into video games, and licensed merchandise. On paper, diversification looked like growth. In practice, it was chaos. None of these new businesses connected to each other or to the core brand identity. Worse, the toy sets themselves got more complicated and more expensive to manufacture, drifting further and further from the simple bricks that had made Lego famous in the first place. Parents found the new kits harder to build and less fun. Kids lost interest. Meanwhile, Lego's own internal operations were a mess. Bloated inventory, inefficient production, and a supply chain that couldn't reliably get the right product to the right shelf at the right time. Retailers were furious. Less shelf space, more returns, and a brand that suddenly looked like it didn't know what it was anymore. By 2003, the math caught up. Lego was hemorrhaging cash, sitting on debt almost equal to its yearly revenue, and staring directly at the kind of crisis that ends companies permanently. This is usually where the villain shows up. Except in this story, there wasn't really a villain. There was a single brutal decision point and the man who had to make it. In 2004, Lego did something it had never done in over 70 years of existence. It hired an outside CEO who wasn't a member of the founding family. His name was Jørgen Vig Knudstorp, a former McKinsey consultant who had only recently joined the company. He was young, he was an outsider, and he inherited a balance sheet that looked like a controlled demolition. His first move was almost violent in its simplicity. He cut the product line by more than half. Gone were huge swaths of the complicated, expensive sets. Gone were many of the side businesses that had nothing to do with the core brick. He sold off non-core assets and refocused almost entirely on the thing that had made Lego great in the first place: the classic building brick experience. But the cut that really mattered was happening quietly, deep in the factories. Before the crisis, 90% of Lego's plastic components were each used in only one single design: Every new toy set basically required brand new molds, and those molds were not cheap. Each one could cost up to 50,000 euros to produce. Lego was essentially manufacturing custom parts for every single product, an insanely expensive way to build toys at scale. Knudstorp's team forced designers to start reusing existing components across new products instead of inventing new ones every time. The result was staggering. The total number of distinct components in the entire catalog dropped from around 13,000 down to about 7,000. Development time for new products dropped by 50%. Some manufacturing and distribution moved to lower-cost locations, but critically, the quality bar never dropped. This wasn't cost-cutting that gutted the product. It was cost-cutting that made the entire machine more efficient, freeing up cash and speed that could be reinvested into actually fixing the business. At the same time, Lego's culture went through its own kind of demolition. For years, the internal mindset had been about chasing creativity and good feelings, sometimes at the direct expense of profit. Knudstorp made it brutally clear that wasn't going to fly anymore. Results mattered now. Pay structures were redesigned to reward employees for innovation that actually drove sales and cut costs, not innovation for its own sake. The business could still be about fun and play for customers, but internally, Lego itself stopped treating performance as optional. Here's where the real plot twist comes in, though, because cutting costs alone doesn't turn a near-bankrupt company into a global powerhouse. What actually rebuilt the brand was something almost nobody expected. Lego looked at its own customers, the adult fans who had grown up building with these bricks, who were now spending their weekends constructing massive custom creations and posting them online on fan forums by the thousands, and realized those fans weren't just customers. They were an untapped engine of creativity the company had been ignoring. In 2008, Lego launched a platform that let fans submit their own original designs. If a fan design hit 10,000 votes from the community, official in-house designers would review it for potential production as a real official set, with the original creator getting a cut of the profits. This single move quietly transformed thousands of fans from passive buyers into active CO creators of the brand. As of the platform's own records, dozens of fan-submitted designs went on to become real, shelf-ready official Lego sets. Lego also struck major licensing partnerships with massive entertainment franchises, building entire sets around Star Wars and the Harry Potter universe, partnerships that brought entirely new audiences in the door who had never bought a single brick before. At the same time, Lego leaned into the booming online world of fan-made creations. The custom builds enthusiasts called their own original works, shared across YouTube, Instagram, and dedicated fan communities. Instead of ignoring this user-generated content, Lego embraced it, featuring fan creations on official channels and partnering with popular creators to amplify it further. Massive fan conventions sprang up around the world, gathering thousands of enthusiasts to show off their builds and connect with other superfans. What had started as a company on the brink of collapse had, within just a handful of years, turned its most devoted customers into an army of unpaid brand ambassadors. The financial turnaround that followed is almost hard to believe. From 16 billion Danish krone in revenue in 2010, Lego grew to over 28 billion krone by 2014, while profit nearly doubled in that same window, climbing from 3.7 billion krone to 7 billion krone. Revenue went from roughly $1 billion in 2003, the literal brink of bankruptcy, to nearly $10 billion 2 decades later. A company that was burning $1 million a day had transformed into one of the most profitable toy makers on the planet, built not on some flashy tech pivot, but on cutting back to its core product and then trusting its own customers to help build the rest. So what can we actually take from this? Lesson number 1. When you're drowning, the answer usually isn't doing more. It's doing less, but better. The instinct in a crisis is almost always to add new products, new markets, new revenue streams, anything to find growth somewhere. But Lego nearly died from doing too much. The turnaround only started once leadership had the discipline to cut the catalog in half and rebuild fewer, better, more focused products around the one thing the brand was actually known for. Lesson number 2. Hidden complexity is often more dangerous than visible competition. Nobody was talking about 13,000 mismatched plastic components as the reason a beloved toy company was about to go bankrupt. It wasn't a sexy headline. But that kind of invisible operational bloat, expensive molds, inefficient design, slow development cycles, quietly drained Lego dry from the inside while everyone was busy worrying about video games stealing kids' attention. Lesson number 3. Your most passionate customers are not just buyers. They're free research and development if you let them be. Lego didn't just survive by tightening its belt. It thrived by handing real creative power to the fans who already loved the product more than anyone inside the building did. Those fans turned out to be a better source of new ideas, viral content, and community-driven loyalty than any internal marketing department could have manufactured on its own. There's something almost poetic about a company built on the idea of small, simple, reusable pieces, nearly destroying itself by forgetting that exact philosophy, and then saving itself by remembering it. Sometimes the most powerful growth strategy isn't a bold new direction at all. It's stripping everything back down to the one piece that actually clicks into place and trusting the people who already love it to help you build the rest. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And subscribe if you want more deep dives into the business stories behind the brands you grew up with. Let me know in the comments, do you think this company could pull off a turnaround like this again if it had to, or did it get lucky with timing? I read every comment, so let's discuss it down below.